Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to take a little break, take advantage of the little break in the rain. It's sprinkling off and on a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't get the lens wet. But I wanted to do a quick garden update and let y'all know how we're progressing with all this rain. If you watched, I don't know, it's probably been, about a week and a half now, and now it's gonna pick up raining harder. About a week and a half now, we've planted our big garden here, and the very next day we got about 2.5 inches of rain. So that was fun. We have not been able to get in here to do anything with weeding. Unfortunately, we had 3 good days of really nice warm high 80s weather, no rain, so that kind of dried things out a little bit. But I mean, you can see it's going to get out of control pretty quickly in here if we're not able to get in and do some weeding soon. Unfortunately, I believe Saturday it's not calling for any rain right now, but then the rest of the week it's like 70-80% chance of rain and storms, so that'll be fun. But it happens every year this time of year, and I guess we should appreciate it while we have it, because never fails, as soon as this stops we're going to go through a drought, and then we'll be wanting rain. But Papa Bear was pretty happy. We thought that our green beans had gotten drowned out, but we have several popping up now. It looks like most of the ones in the second row are popping up, and I had to look down to make sure I wasn't stepping on any. First row here we have some. I can't tell if that's just not coming up great or if something's been munching on them. That is one bad thing. I have spotted probably 3 or 4 wild rabbits around here recently. Not by this garden, but on the property. And our zucchini's kind of starting to come into it a little bit. That one's starting to look pretty good. But I was really concerned after we got all that rain, right after we planted, that we were going to have to replant a bunch of stuff. I ended up swapping out, I think, maybe 4 tomatoes. They were smaller when I planted them, and they did not hold up well at all. So, and then Papa Bear has started on his rock garden. We've just got some, I believe that's lemon basil. Ooh, excuse my voice. And then some squash planted. He's got kind of a mulch barrier. And then I think our next little patch over there are going to be onions, perhaps. And then we're going to plant a lot more sweet basil. I don't know that we'll get the entire thing planted this year. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do down at that end. We're still wanting to get some of this area blacked out for a couple of our tires, but we actually decided, and I don't know if we mentioned it in the video when we were planting this garden or not, but on the other side of the garden, between the garden and the house, we're gonna black out a lot of that as well and get a couple of these big tires moved over there just for herbs, possibly even just some pollinator flowers. But while I'm over here, might as well check out our ladies. They're not going to be very happy today. Temperature wise it's okay, but it's rainy. They're not going to want to fly a lot. Hi, sweethearts. They finally made their way. If you watched the video where we did the inspection of all 4 of the hives, we had to take the top deep off of this one because of how badly they were making the wonky comb below. They just weren't able to take advantage of all the space, and it just wasn't conducive. They would have kept swarming because they would have thought they were running out of space. So this will be better for them in the long run. It's really starting to rain now. I thought about doing this video first thing before I did my chores, but then I didn't want the animals to wait longer for food, so can't really tell if it's gonna lighten up a little bit or not. But y'all, you know, rain or no rain, I've started this video and we're gonna power through it. It's not gonna be a super long one, but our Canton ladies and our Terre Haute ladies are nowhere to be seen. I saw one or two coming out, but I don't blame them. All right, we'll take y'all to the grocery store next. Try to keep y'all kind of under my hat. The grocery store is doing really well, minus the strawberry bed, which, of course, some of the ones that we planted are coming up, but we are having so many issues with things burrowing in there. I haven't seen any chipmunks around the area recently, but check the lens here. Goodness gracious. I'm kind of letting Papa Bear sleep in today. I don't say let, he can sleep in whenever he wants, but yeah, some of the strawberries are starting to grow. I got in here and weeded a little bit yesterday, but obviously it needs more work. We finally planted some sweet onions, I believe. Some more basil. We have gladiolas planted. I overcrowded my tomato bucket with the cherry tomatoes, so we transferred those over here. And then we had some coxcomb down at the store that weren't doing great and needed planted. Our mint's taken over as expected. And then everything else over here, y'all, is looking really good. Our garlic's kicking butt and taking names. A couple volunteer sunflowers. And I've mentioned it before, where the mullein wants to grow, I let it grow. I'm gonna have to speed this video up. I couldn't be happier with my cucumbers on the trellis, y'all. I mentioned the very first year that we tried this with the cucumbers on the trellis, we didn't do them in these planters, we just did them in a 5-gallon bucket, or maybe one of those red buckets, I think, actually. And they just didn't do it all. I don't think it was because of the bucket, but I think the plants just weren't that healthy. This side was planted a little bit later and might not do as well. It doesn't get as much sun throughout the day, but still got a lot of blooms, so we'll see what happens with her. I ducked in the carport for just a minute so that I could dry off the GoPro, but I forget what video it was. Papa Bear mentioned, you'll notice Bessie there, the white car, that's my car. We were actually going to get the other 3 big gardens tilled a couple of days ago, maybe Tuesday. I don't even know what day of the week it is, y'all. It was bad enough when Papa Bear was at work and kept a work schedule. I could pretty well remember what day of the week it was. But now that he's home full-time, y'all, it's bad. You'll ask me what day it is, I'll say Saturday and it'll be a Tuesday. But instead of getting the gardens tilled, we had to go down to the greenhouse in Scottsburg to put in our order for our mum starts, because we'll be planting those in about a week and a half. But on the way down there, my engine light came, or not my engine light, my battery light came on in the car. Never a good sign. We got it back up to the saw shop and they tested, and sure enough, the alternator's going out. So instead of tilling that day, Papa Bear had to get the alternator taken out of my car, and he got it down to the saw shop. So they're rebuilding that for me. Hopefully in the next day or so, Bessie will be back in operating order. But Papa Jerry was very nice to volunteer his buggy to leave over here until we got Bessie back up and running. We have Papa Bear's truck, but it's tough sometimes just with one vehicle, especially if he needs to be on alert with his truck available so that he can go and catch bees if he gets a call. That happened the other night. He was actually going to pick up a bee box, a swarm trap that had bees, and then probably not 30 minutes before he was leaving the house, he got a call about bees on a hay bale. The GM man Go check out his YouTube channel if you haven't. He's a cool dude. Had some bees on a hay bale out in the field, and Papa Bear went and scooped them up, and he took both swarms, the hay bale swarm and the swarm that he caught, to a neighbor who's helped us out with some bee frames that wanted to get back into beekeeping, and he was just tickled pink. So fun day. We don't always keep the bee swarms that we catch, but it's about being able to catch them and save them so that they don't end up somewhere where they're either not gonna do well, or, you know, end up in somebody's house. All right, I know I've got y'all panned at our chaos area and part of Papa Bear's outdoor shop. It's our rabbit hutch that we've been working on since November. Time and time again, I'll ask them, I'll be like, hey, can you work on that rabbit hutch X day, whatever day? And then that day will come around and something else will come up, and I'll say, okay, it's all right, we'll push it off. I'm just as guilty of not having it done as he is. But we'll be needing it soon because our rabbits will need to go in a cage. We've got Thumper with her babies. She'll still be in there with them another couple weeks, but I already moved Chip out of hers. If it don't start raining too bad, I'll take you over there and show you Chip's babies. They've gotten so big, and there's one that looks identical to her. But we had a case of false pregnancy with Lisa. She was supposed to give birth on Mother's Day, and she had her nest bill and was pulling fur and everything, and it just didn't happen. So we're all too familiar with that. And Papa Bear had asked if it was possible that maybe she had had her babies and eaten them, which does happen with rabbits, but there would have been some evidence in there of that happening, and she just wasn't pregnant. But this is the chaos of our mum pad. I know I've walked by it in previous videos and probably pointed out all the weeds, so we've gotten a lot of that under control. We have a couple big weed piles. Still a lot here, but honestly, y'all, if we had to plant the mums tomorrow, I would be perfectly fine leaving it like this and just touching up on it here and there. It's not going to be perfect. I just need to get that out of my head. But I do know for a fact, if you want to weed and don't want to suffer, you know, in the midday sun when it's whatever degree outside, Papa Bear had me out doing a little walk around of the property the other night. Oh, I don't know, it was probably 8:30. It wasn't completely dark yet. But we ended up over here and spent a good probably 30 minutes weeding together. And y'all, it was so much fun. It wasn't hot. The bugs weren't out of control yet. Or they had gone to bed, whatever. Because they normally eat me alive. But yeah, so if you ever feel like weeding is a chore, don't do it in the middle of the day. Do it in the evening. Or at night even. Papa Bear is a big fan of nighttime gardening. This is where we had our cucumbers the last 2 years. They did not do well last year at all. I don't know if it was the ground or if it was the cucumber plants, but I think we had one that really lived and produced some cucumbers for us. The rest, I mean, they died pretty quickly. And it was evident. I don't remember what it was that they had on their leaves, but they had some type of disease. We have a nice little mini koi pond here. That'll get fixed whenever the excavator gets back over here. But yeah, this whole field here, nothing's been done to this ground this year at all yet. Marty boy is just sitting here looking all pretty. But last year, 2 years ago, we planted tomatoes and peppers down here, and they did well, except, I mean, they got weeded out really bad. Excuse me. And gourds. And the gourds, y'all, took over all the pepper plants like crazy. So last year, we decided to just do gourds in this field, and they didn't do anything. They also got weeded out. That was the main part of the problem. So we did harvest some underneath all the weeds, but sorry, y'all, got a tickle in my throat. I don't know what 100% what Papa Bear's wanting to do with this field, with this big garden, but hopefully here within a week or two we can have something planted. This field over here, I don't want to walk over that. The pigs are gone. I don't know if we actually, how many videos we may have actually talked about that. We didn't get anything loading them up this time, but we've got to do a lot of work on this pig setup. Hopefully in another month or so we'll have some more pigs, but yeah, we were very happy with the loading chute and everything. That worked like a charm, but the big pen in there, you'll probably can't tell too much on this, and I'm not going to get too close, but it's just a bog in there. It's a nightmare, muddy mess, and we got to get the excavator to do something with the drainage so that when we get these squalls of rain, it doesn't just sit in there and become a huge muddy swimming pool. And then Papa Bear wants to extend the roof out over so that we can move the feed bin underneath the roof to help keep the feed from getting wet, and it'll make it easier for us to fill it up. We won't have to actually get in there. He's gonna do something with the side of the barn there where we can just come in that way. But at one point he mentioned wanting to get this fenced off and use this garden as an extra pig run for a year. But then the last I heard, I believe he wanted to do it for maybe our fall crops, try our gourds over here. We haven't had much luck with this field, this garden, the last couple of years. Papa Bear's going to be on groundhog patrol here soon. That was a big problem that we had with that garden last year. We had a bunch of sunflowers planted, and the groundhog ate them all. We have our blueberries. Y'all, there are blueberries all over this. And don't laugh at my very quick, very unprofessional looking bird netting that I did last year. And then we have our 2 peach trees. We planted those last year, I believe, if my memory is correct. So they're coming along nicely. And then our good friend Katrina brought us a cherry tree. So Dirk got that planted. Hopefully it's taken root real nice. And I don't know what we're gonna do with this garden either. The problem with this garden is that right in the middle, it holds water like crazy. I know he's had a plan of what to do, what he wants to do to help with that, but I don't know. I don't remember what that was. Maybe getting some field tile in there. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But if y'all are local to the area, the homesteading event that's just right up the road from us at Black Swan Lake, 28th through the 30th of June, y'all. It's free. Lots and lots of classes. You can camp. It'll be a good time if you don't have anything going on. Think about coming to that. Oh, sorry. Think about bringing the kids and coming to that. There's going to be kids activities. That's one thing that Dirk's actually working on now. Since all of our corn's out of the gravity wagon, he's going to turn it into a makeshift basketball hoop for the kids. Ooh, about dropped y'all. Look at this mini Chip, y'all. This rabbit looks identical to what Chip looked like when she was this size. And she is so sweet, or he. But growing like a weed. What do you think? What do you think? You're a sweetheart, aren't you? But we're done breeding for the year, y'all. It was kind of disappointing with Lisa's false pregnancy. We were hoping to have that one last litter in. But it was her first time with me attempting to breed her. So it wouldn't have been a guarantee that we would have gotten a lot of babies. But when will this video? Tomorrow. It's almost the end of May, a month pregnancy, and that would leave mama nursing in July in really hot weather, and we don't like to do that. Unfortunately, we don't have any grow out pens or any of our cages in the barn or anywhere that can have fans and air conditioning or whatever, and heat can be really tough on rabbits, so we don't like to put that kind of burden on their body unnecessarily. So we'll wait until the fall, probably, I don't know, depends on how the weather does, maybe October. We'll start breeding again. But in the meantime, we have, I think Thumper has 8 over there, and then the 6 of Chips. So Thumper's babies are pretty skittish still. They're still a lot smaller. I mean, just look at this rabbit. So sweet. Oh, no, don't you jump. Don't you jump. What are you doing up there on your perch? What are you doing, silly? Well, that's it, y'all. I'm not going to do a full rabbit tour right now. I just fed them all breakfast, so they're still eating and probably napping afterward, you know. Chickens are down there doing the same thing. Our mulberry net, if you watched that video, it's doing well. It's catching some mulberries. None of them are too ripe yet, but I'm excited about that. We've had a couple decent storms since we put it up, and the net hasn't had any issues. So happy with that. Y'all, we are playing around with our first merch items. If you go to our main YouTube channel on just the home page of it, you'll see the link to Teespring. We have 3 designs up so far. Go check it out. Playing around with it. We'll get a lot more up there, a lot more options. But we actually, Papa Bear's like, all right, Mom Bear, we got to find a drop shipping company to use with Cluckies, because God willing, our labels should be coming in soon. I know we keep saying that, but we're waiting on the state, you know, and that takes time. They don't rush, but those should be coming in here very soon. I think Dirk mentioned possibly even this weekend or by the weekend. So that should be live. Super excited to start selling the fertilizer buckets and everything, and we'll have merch available through that. If you go to cluckiesorganics.com, everything's gonna say sold out because nothing's available yet. But if you have questions or are interested, shoot an email to the email on file there, and somebody will get back to you about it. And hopefully we'll be up and selling very, very soon. But, excuse me, as I was playing around with the different sites and everything, Papa Bear had also mentioned that he wanted to get some stuff going for the homestead as well. So we played around with it a little bit, and there's the bee shirt on there that says, "Let's go catch a healthy buzz." But we've got one of those ordered for Papa Bear, so he'll demo that for y'all when it gets here. But should be good. I'll have fun playing around with it. If y'all have any fun, clever design ideas, shout them out to me. But I think that's all I've got for you today. Thanks for tagging along. I know it wasn't much with the rain and everything, but it'd been a minute since I'd done an update on the grocery store and let y'all see how the big garden we planted is doing. And if y'all haven't gotten stuff in the ground, don't feel bad, because we still have the 3 big gardens that, I mean, hopefully after this, you know, next 8-day span, we'll get some dry weather so that we can at least get some stuff planted. But it's all God's timing, not ours. What can you do? It's funny because the last time Dirk was gonna plow and till and do all that, God said, nope, I'm gonna give you an $800 tractor tire bill instead. And then this time around, it was my car alternator. But if he had tilled up the gardens, we've gotten so much rain in the last day or 2 already, and it's still crawling. Like I said, Saturday, I don't think we're supposed to get any, but there's 70, 80, 60% chance of rain the rest of the week and going into next week. So it would have been an awful muddy mess that we wouldn't have been able to plant in anyway. But y'all, I'm gonna leave this one here. like we like to say here on Mama Bear's Homestead and More, keep on keeping on, friends, because we love every one of you, and Jesus does too.